Abraham, whom Satan hath bound, lo, these 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day. Look at the next chapter, chapter 14, verse 5. He answered them, saying, which of you shall have an ass or an ox fallen into a pit, and will not straightway pull him out on the Sabbath day? As I said before, Jesus is the one who created the Sabbath. He's the one he did everything perfectly. And in Genesis 2, verse 2, it says, he rested. The Bible tells us that then he told the Israelites they are to rest on the Sabbath. Now, are we to rest on the Sabbath? Are we to meet on the Sabbath? On the sixth day of the week? The Seventh-day Adventists would say yes, but no, Exodus 31, verse 13 says, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, speaking to Israel, it says, for it shall be a sign between me and you throughout your generations. So the Sabbath is for Israel. And the Bible says in Colossians 2, verse 17, by the way, verse 16, it said, not to let anyone judge you based on the Sabbath days. And then verse 17 says, the Sabbath days are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. So the Sabbath, it says, is a shadow of things to come. Jesus is the fulfillment of the Sabbath. Jesus fulfilled all the Sabbath. You know, when man sinned, God had when He created the world, God had rest, and everything was good until sin entered the world, and then God began working again, didn't He? God began working again. He began working the great plan of redemption. And look at John chapter 5. John chapter 5. This is why the Jews hated Jesus, saying He was Lord of the Sabbath. Therefore did the Jews persecute Jesus and sought to slay Him, because He had done these things, healing the man at the pool of Bethesda, on the Sabbath day. And Jesus answered them, my Father worketh hitherto, and I work. He says, this is God's work. I have to do this work of redemption. He says, therefore the Jews sought the more to kill Him, because He not only had broken the Sabbath, they thought, but said also that God was His Father, making Himself equal with God. And Jesus is indeed equal with God and Lord of the Sabbath. And Jesus did work. He says, I've worked, and I'm going to work hitherto. I'm going to finish my work. And then finally He did finish His work. In John chapter 19, verse 30, it says, He said, it is finished. He finished the work. And then it says, at the end of the Sabbath day, they buried Him. And that was the end of that Sabbath day, but it was really the end of all Sabbath days, because Jesus had finished the work. Anyway, that's Jesus' compassion. He had compassion for this man. He healed this withered man's hand. We are to be like Christ in our compassion. May we have compassion on others and not put burdens on them that we ourselves cannot lift. That's called legalism. Trying to be saved by keeping a bunch of rules. That's called legalism. And most people try it. Most man-made religions, in fact all of them, are humanistic religions. And they say good works for salvation. All of them, except for the Bible. But we should have compassion and show people that there's rest from all of that. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy, my burden is light. A yoke, by the way, was a symbol of discipleship. It is my yoke is easy, and you shall find rest for your souls. So we should be like Christ in our compassion for others. We should be like Christ in our communion. Our communion. Look at what it says after this man's withered hand was healed, here in Luke chapter 7. The enemies communed with each other. Look at again at verse number 11. And they were filled with madness. So this man stretches forth his hand, and it's restored whole as the other, and instead of being happy, they're filled with madness. And they communed with one another what they might do to Jesus. They're communing to want to kill Jesus. What does Jesus do? What would you do if you had a bunch of people threatening your life and